What up, guys? I am currently on the road to go to my wife's cousin's wedding, and we had to leave earlier than we thought because the roads are nasty. So, I'm going to record talking through this for you guys, and then after I'm done, you guys should get together in your groups and hang out and work on your group projects. Cool? I know Andrew's going to be sad, can't give me feedback throughout this presentation, but it's okay. Send me an email. All right, cool. So I added one section of the syllabus, I'm calling it working in groups. So we'll start there with the working in groups slide. So what is working in groups, right? You guys probably work in groups all the time in college. I remember I did. It was quite the thing. For whatever reason, people enjoy working in, or professors enjoy punishing the students by making them work in groups. But hopefully through this we can get a little bit better at it. So when you guys start your working in groups, make sure you take time to get to know each other. Like, that's a huge component of working well. If you don't know each other, then it makes it really hard. And the reason you get to know each other is for a lot of things. I mean, when you know people better, then you can know how they react in certain situations, and that's really important. But most importantly, you can learn what they're good at and what their strengths are. It doesn't do you any good to assign somebody to be the slide creator for the project if they have no idea how to use Keynote or Google Slides or whatever. So make sure you get to know each other, get to know each other's strengths and what you're better at working at, the ways you like to work. You guys seriously might consider going and getting lunch one of these days, or go grab a bite somewhere, whatever, just so you can get to know each other a little bit better. That'll make it way easier to work together on your project. Also be aware that everybody has different opinions, and that when you are working in a group, you have to take everybody's opinions into consideration. Super important to be kind and to listen and to be aware that everybody comes from different backgrounds and different stories. Their way of getting here was way different than yours, and so by understanding that and listening and taking in people's opinions, you can really grow yourself personally. And then the last part, which is an interesting thing: work hard, be compassionate, and learn from others. So to split those up into three things. So working hard, everybody's level of working hard is going to be different, but that's okay. If you're the guy that is in the group that feels like they're doing everything, hopefully that's not the case, but maybe that's what you're capable of doing and everybody else isn't capable of working as hard. So that's a benefit to your group, not a detriment. Hopefully people don't take advantage of that. If you do have somebody that's a hard worker in your group, don't wait for them to just do everything. But if that is you, that might be your calling in life. Be compassionate. The reason you be compassionate is because of kind of what I said already. When people come, our knowledge levels and our skill levels and our ability to work come from 20 plus years for you guys, or around 20 years, almost 40 years for me. How did I get to be almost 40? And so we all have different levels of abilities across the board. Being compassionate means taking those into consideration and not getting upset with your fellow group mates, teammates, if they're not delivering to the level that you think you can. Be compassionate, be understanding, and then learn from your teammates. Some teammates that feel like they might not be contributing very much do have a lot to offer. Take the time to listen, figure out their strengths, all the other things, and learn from them as well. Really important. It reminds me of a time back when I worked at a law firm, and I was a legal assistant, and there were like 7 of us that were legal assistants, and I really enjoyed my job. I liked working. I got to speak Spanish every day, which was cool. Didn't get to do that very often, and so I really liked my job. And some of the other legal assistants, whether or not they liked their jobs, I'm not sure, but they were constantly behind. And because they were behind, all the rest of us had to help out, and it was super annoying, and we were always so frustrated about it. And the realization I had when I was like, wait, okay, so this person is a good person. They have good intentions. They're trying to do their best, the person that was behind. They aren't maliciously trying to ruin the law firm, And I took that, I was compassionate, and I understood that maybe their abilities, their computer abilities just weren't as good, or their phone skills weren't as good, and you know what, that's okay. And after I took that into consideration and changed my perspective on the whole situation went from, gosh, you're ruining everything, to I can help, and that's okay. I can do more because it doesn't bother me. Yeah, I have to do more, but ultimately I'm here 9 to 5 just like everybody else. And if I have the time to be able to go and help you, then perfect. It balances out. So we all win. We're on the same team. Winning's the main thing. And if you're on a team, you do whatever it takes to help that team win. So anyway, really important stuff. I liked this. I was reading a bunch of different articles about working in groups, and this is just so true, right? Human beings are endowed with free will, and not every person will choose to discipline themselves in the way necessary to receive instruction. No amount of tinkering with a system can substitute for the all-important element of a student's free choice to become educated. So you and your teammates have free will, right? I remember my second semester at UNLV. No, it was at CSN still. CCSN back then. And I was chasing a girlfriend, and because I was going to marry her, and I moved up to Logan, Utah, and I switched every one of my classes to online classes. And because of my free will, I didn't do a dang thing. It was a spring semester. I didn't do a dang thing until March on any of those classes. I had free will. I was able to do it or not, and for whatever stupid reason, I chose not to. And man, that sucked, because there was no getting out of it. I was past cut dates. It sucked, but that was my free will. That was my choice, and I recovered from it, and I graduated and all those things. But same goes for your groups, your teammates. They have free will. And some of them, hopefully none of you guys, but some might decide not to participate very much, and that's unfortunate. But they do have free will. So here's how we're going to help you succeed if you have somebody that may have free will and choose not to help. What you're actually going to submit for the team project is not the slides. You're going to present those to us, but I don't need copies of those. What you're going to present to us is a quick paragraph, a few sentences, answering the following questions. How did you give everything you've got to help the group project succeed? So, what did you do? I want to know what you did. I don't want you to even hint to any of the things that anybody else did. I want you to just outline the things that you worked hard on. Tell me how it went. Tell me what you learned. Don't rag on your teammates. I don't want to hear about complaining. But just this is what matters. Did you work as hard as you could? When we're doing things like over the summer, my aunt had a cabin so my aunt's husband died like a year and a half ago. They had a cabin up in outside of Bryan Head. Cabin's putting it nicely. It was in rough shape. And my uncle, who was young at the time, he died of a crazy sudden thing, was working on it. And he had all these plans to make the cabin really cool. But then he died, and so we got all of our family together, and we headed up the mountain to go help finish on this cabin. There were 100 of us, cousins and family members, that were all there to support my aunt and help get this cabin done. And one of the things that was tricky in that kind of a situation is making sure everybody had something to do, right? Like, okay, the drywall needs to be hung over there. The outside needs to be fixed over there. The water needs to be done over there. All these different things, millions of things. But trying to organize everybody onto those jobs is really, really difficult. And one of the things I kept saying the whole time we were there is, just do something. Just do something, even if you're not positive. One of the things that was always available at the cabin was picking up garbage. And if I was the one picking up garbage, yes, I could hang the drywall. I could do the hard jobs. Those were things I could do. But if people were doing them, or if I didn't have an assignment, rather than sit on my thumb and wait for somebody to tell me to do something, I walked around and picked up garbage, because that needed to be done too. And we're all on the same team, so it doesn't matter what our jobs are. We're going to win because we're all working together to get it done. So work as hard as you can to get this project done individually, and be a good teammate and learn from your teammates. But what you're going to turn in is a quick little paragraph about how you did everything you could to help the group project succeed. Cool? All right, moving on. So in the book, the 10 innovations, there are 3 groups of personas. So a persona, right, is a type of person. It's the attributes you give off and the things that people understand about you. So as we go through these 3 types, there's actually 3 or 4 subsections or actual personality types that this author has outlined, and they're really, really cool. They're really, really interesting. The 3 breakouts are the learning personas. You can kind of gather what that might be. You might be one of these people already. You're the one that wants to know all the information. You're the one that is paying attention to all the details. You're really trying to get to the bottom of the problem so that you can come up with a solution. So that's really good. The organizing personas, the type A's that want to make sure everything's done right. You usually are probably a grade A person that follows the rules, gets it done as best you can. Organizing person, knows where everything's at. We'll go over those more. And then the building personas, which are typically the people that are in the forefront looking at, people know the building personas. They're usually the presenters or the ones that you interact with in a group. And so we'll go into all those. So the one we're going to start with is the learning personas. So learning roles keep a team from becoming too internally focused. I wish I would have moved my little circle here. Let's see if I can do this on the fly. No, can I do that? I think I can. There we go. The learning personas keep your team from becoming too internally focused and remind your organization not to be too smug about what you know. So there's always more to learn, right? These personas are directly related to being in an innovative environment, meaning you're trying to find a way to do something different than you haven't done before, right? Kind of like on this dang marker assignment I gave you, right? Like, you got to be innovative. So all these personas, as we learn about them, you might feel like you are one already. You might feel like you want to try one out. Don't limit yourself to just one persona type. But the learning personas are going to be, some of you are going to relate to them. The organizing personas are roles that look at budgets, roles a complex game of chess, and they play to win. So they are like, they know the rules. They can follow the instructions really, really well, but they're also looking to figure out how they can make it to where they can do a little bit better, trying to push the boundaries of what is allowed. And then the last one, building personas are often right in the middle of the heart of the action, taking what learning and organizing people provide and then executing. So, cool. We covered those pretty good. Now, I kind of mentioned this already. Don't limit yourself to one role or way of thinking. Look at this as an opportunity to try something new, something different. Maybe, just maybe, you'll find a new way of being that fits you just right. So last year when I did this course, I got really stuck on the idea that you already are one of these persona types, that you were raised to be one of these personas, which is probably true. Naturally, you're going to gravitate towards some of these personality types, and you're going to be like, oh, that's totally me. As we talk about them, though, be open to the possibility that you could be something else. A lot of them are not. It doesn't take a lot to stretch. Like, if you're an introvert, I'm not saying to become an extrovert. Like, that's not what we're talking about here. As you learn about these different personas, you might find something new. And in your group projects, both projects this semester, look for opportunities to change it up, to try to be a builder for a minute or an organizer for another minute. That's okay. You can kind of bounce around. And this course is all about trying it out to learn to see how you fit in and how you might fit in better in a different role that you didn't think of before. So pay attention to that for sure. All right, so the learning personas, talked about that already. The first one in the book of the learning personas is the anthropologist. Now, an anthropologist, I don't think any of you are going to school for anthropology and not STORE, right? They they have kind of this list of things. They're usually a little more social, and the reason is because they're the ones. It's a learning persona, right? So they're trying to figure out how things work, why we do things the way we do them, and so when they do that, they need to be okay going up to strangers and talking to them, or starting a conversation or a dialogue with somebody they've never met before. So the anthropologist typically needs to be a socialite. They also need to be really, really good at looking at something, looking at a problem, and saying, why is that a problem, and where can I find a solution? So really good at reframing problems. They also have to be open-minded. So when you're open-minded, right, most of us, are programmed to be very routine-oriented. If you're like me, I have my calendar. It outlines everything in my day. I follow it to a T. But an open-minded person may not do that. They might be a little more willing to change or do something different today. Maybe they have a better idea on, today I could save 5 minutes by going to this coffee shop. Not necessarily that simple, but they're open-minded. They're willing to look at the world differently and to try something else. They also look for inspiration in unusual places. So when it comes to innovating, you guys probably haven't done much by way of innovating over your lifetime yet, and that's okay. When you live an innovative life and you're trying to be innovative, you are constantly observing the happenings around you, and you're always looking to answer the question, why do we do it that way? So you're looking at somebody hanging their coat on a wall rack, and you're thinking, why do we hang our coats? You might think through, okay, because you don't want to put them on the ground, but is there a better way? We just want somewhere safe to put them. So you're just kind of thinking through the open-minded, or the unusual things that seem regular, but you're trying to find out get to the bottom of why. In the book, it talks about having vujade instead of deja vu. Vujade is the ability. So deja vu is the feeling of you've done this before. Vujade is the opposite, meaning this is the first time you've ever done it. So not that you're first time experiencing everything literally, but figuratively, when you're doing something, you're thinking, why do I do this? Why do I swipe on my phone to unlock it? Why do I do these things? You're constantly in that mindset of, why do I do this? And then kind of already talked about not falling into routines. You're observationists. If you're an anthropologist, you are paying attention to everything always. You are constantly looking for places and things that we do that could be improved. And so some places where you might observe things are in small observations. So small observations, there's a story in the book about, I just lost the train of thought. The story in the book about, soda company. There was a soda company, I think they were in Ireland, I think is what the book says. And the soda company says, you know what, we want to sell more sodas at the train station. And so you know what the observation people did? They went and they sat at the train station and looked and watched people to figure out, why don't we sell as many sodas as we think we can? There's thousands of people here every single day at the train station. Why aren't they buying sodas? And so they watched. And you know what they observed is people standing by the train, looking at their watch, trying to figure out if they had enough time. They would look at the watch, they would look at the soda machine, look at the train, look at the watch, try to figure out if they had enough time to go get the soda. And so what they observed was that if the soda wasn't so far from where they were, there was a higher probability of them actually buying the soda. So what did they do? They moved the soda machines and they put them closer to the train, and it increased sales exponentially. So small observations like that can be a big innovation for your company. Kids are another great place to learn things. If you take a kid and you ask him any question like, tell me about your favorite toy, or take me on a tour of your house, or what would you spend $10 or $100 on? They will tell you all kinds of crazy stuff. And yes, some of it might be silly, but the purity of a child, not having all of the dirt and muck thrown on top of them like us adults have, will give you real, honest answers, and taking those and learning from them can be a huge benefit for you. Practical observations. So one of the things that the book talks about, another story, the author is in a train station, another train station, guy has a lot of train stories. He's in a train station and he goes to find a, he had just landed, that's what it was, sorry. Okay, so he went on a trip, he had his luggage, he goes to the train station, and as he's going to the train station, there's those turnstiles that have the three arms like they have at Disneyland or any kind of train station. We don't have train stations here, so maybe you haven't seen them, but they're kind of awkward to get to when you're just by yourself, let alone with luggage. It doesn't work very well. But somebody along the line decided that at this train station that's right off the airport where everybody likely has luggage, to put these turnstiles in that nobody can pass through with their luggage. So people are picking up their luggage to carry it over the turnstile. They're awkwardly pulling it through the turnstile, and it just is a nasty mess. And so as he observed that, he thought, somebody could really make this experience, could innovate here and make this experience exponentially better for everybody coming to this train station, because he was just practically observing. So just pay attention to the things around you, see what there is, note it. Maybe have a notebook. This was a recommendation I heard once. Take a note on your app, on your phone, on your note app on your phone, and if you notice things that are weird, just start a list of all the things that you can innovate on. And maybe you do, maybe you don't, but things that you say, that's not as good as I think it could be. There's an opportunity here. You're going to want to do that for this week's question of the week, by the way. And then instant observations. So some of us don't have a lot of time to be observing constantly. And so instead of doing that, where can you find instant observations? Well, the book's about 10 years old, and he recommends magazines, which, man, magazines are still a great place to go observe what's happening in the world. There's so many magazines out there that talk about so many different things. Opening up magazines can really gratify the mind and tell you something that might be happening out there. I would update that to say social media, obviously, maybe YouTube probably in particular, browsing around and looking for things that might be able to be done better. So those would be instant observations. So, question of the week. You are going to be an anthropologist this week, all of you. You're going to come up with 5 observations throughout the week on things that could be improved. So you're going to try your best to look around, get that notes app out, find things that you think can be improved. Just write me a paragraph about what they are, why you noticed them, and maybe why you noticed them, and what was I going to say? And maybe if you have an idea for a solution, put that in there too. So let's see. It's short and sweet. Give you a lot of group time, and should be good. The labs are due today. Lab 1 is due today. We're going to talk about work in progress, I believe was the subject, right? So go ahead and make sure those are submitted to Canvas. Hit me up. I'll be in the car. I'll be riding shotgun for the first half of the drive. By the time you guys get to class, I will probably be driving, but I'll have my wife text or email back if needs be. So hit me up. Good luck. Work on your group projects. Right now, use the rest of this time, which is a lot of time that you have allotted for this class, to work on the group project. Start to get to know each other. If you're capable, go grab a hamburger real quick or something. That is part of this group project, is getting to know your teammates so that you can work well together and finish this thing out. Good luck. I'm excited to see what you come up with. Sorry I couldn't be there live in person today. We plan on leaving later, and the roads are getting bad, and so we're gonna head out earlier than we thought. So talk to you guys later. See ya.